Hi, I'm Brittany and I'm considered a successful artist on Etsy selling digital products like digital wall art and digital stationery. So if I've had success on Etsy, why on earth would I quit selling on Etsy? Well, let me tell you the whole story from the beginning. It all started at the beginning of COVID for me. I found myself with a lot of extra time on my hands and I had seen artists selling products digitally on Etsy and I was really curious about that, so I decided to dive right in. I spent hours and hours researching how to do it properly, how to set up a shop, how to set up your listings, everything. It took a long time. So I spent the time to create about 10 listings and then I published my shop and then I sat back and I waited. And surprisingly, it only took a couple of days for me to make my first sale. And then it kind of soared from there. I had a lot of good sales in my first few weeks. I even had a product go semi-viral online and it was pretty exciting because I even had somebody get a tattoo of that listing on their arm, which I know they didn't pay for licensing, but I didn't care. I just thought it was cool. So anyway, sales were great. And then I started making tutorials on YouTube for how to do what I was doing on Etsy, how to sell digital art products on Etsy. And they performed really well, and they're still my top performing videos on my channel to this day. And I'm really proud of that because my goal with those videos was to help people who wanted to get started like I did and who have no idea how to start, because that shit was hard to learn, okay? Then I noticed sales starting to dwindle over the next couple of years, and that was my own fault. Despite what others may tell you about having a passive storefront on Etsy, it does take daily work because Etsy will not promote your shops if you're not making changes and uploading listings on your store daily. But to be completely honest with you, I didn't want to put in the work in my Etsy shop anymore because I was feeling very conflicted about this whole business model as a whole, selling digital products on Etsy. And so I didn't want to invest time and energy into this venture where I wasn't sure I even wanted to do it anymore. So now that you know the backstory about my journey on Etsy and how I'm feeling conflicted about my venture on Etsy today, let me go ahead and explain to you what I plan to do for the year of 2025 on my Etsy shop. So now it's time to get into the nitty-gritty. I am sure you are wondering, this is why you clicked on the video, why I'm frustrated with Etsy and what my plans are for my Etsy shop in the year of 2025, and why I'm hinting at abandoning it if I'm successful. I came up with about 5 different reasons, and these vary in topic from things like frustrations with the platform and just not feeling proud of the business model I came up with and the products I sell. So I'll talk about these reasons in no particular order. The first reason I came up with is the fact that people were stealing my art, and I hinted at this earlier. And I knew this was coming, I just didn't think it would be so frustrating to deal with. There's really nothing I can do about it. And I think the primary reason why this was happening so readily, for me at least, and my business model is because my business model focused on primarily offering products that were, number 1, simple in design, and number 2, low in file size. If you're not aware, Etsy has size limitations to the amount of data you can upload for your digital products. So for instance, if I wanted to scan this piece of art and offer it as a digital wall art product, it would be a massive file. And that's one of the problems of trying to sell digital art on Etsy, is you're limited in this file size and you can't really get around the fact that this is going to end up being a huge file, lots of data to store in all these colors and brush strokes, okay? So what a lot of Etsy sellers do, myself included, is they make these, as I call it, pump and dump designs. They make designs that are very simple and not complex and thusly small in file size, so you don't have to worry about things being too large. But what I came across during this journey is these pump and dump designs don't differentiate me as an artist. My very simple line art, for example, is not distinguishing me, Brittany, as an artist compared to all the other sellers on Etsy. And so it's very easy for other people to steal your art as their own and sell it because my simple pump and dump designs didn't really differentiate me as Brittany the artist. I'm editing this video right now and I'm not explaining myself well, so let me quickly explain the two types of products I sell. The one on the left I call pump and dump designs, and the one on the right I call original art. Pump and dump is not a negative connotation to me, it's just how I colloquially categorize this type of art and product. So on the left, what I call pump and dump, these are very simple designs, okay? These are digital files that I offer. I don't sell any physical products, so this is digital file format. They are small in file size, so I can still sell them on the Etsy platform itself. I do consider it original art. I designed this and made it myself, but it's more simple in design. And simple in design means, at least what I experienced, it meant it was easier for people to steal it because it didn't differentiate me as an artist. There are many products on Etsy that look very similar to this, so it doesn't really differentiate me and people can steal it as their own and nobody would know the difference because there's so many of this type of product. I feel like the type of customer who wants to buy this are people who are looking for really quick ways to put decor up in their house. They want quick, easy, cheap things to do, and they don't want to feel guilty if they want to take it down in a year and do something else. On the right, this is what I colloquially called original art. Again, they're both original. I designed them both, but this is just what I like to call it. I also offered it in digital file format, but these are really large files. There's a lot of data to store in a complex piece like this. And because Etsy has size limitations, I had to sell this via a Google Drive link. Again, like I said, this is also original art, but it's more complex in design, and more complex means it's harder for people to steal. It would be really hard for somebody to steal that art that is very unique and have somebody get away with it because it's easier to look at that and recognize it as Brittany's piece of art. I feel like the type of customer that wants to buy these are people who want more traditional art and they want something physical. I feel like they were deterred from buying these types of digital products because these types of customers want a physical product, they want more fine art in the traditional sense, and they want something to hang on their wall for years to come. So, long story short, I at least experienced that it was very easy for people to steal my art and get away with it, and I couldn't really do anything about it. And this kind of is a segue into my second reason why I am not confident in my business model at this point on Etsy and what I'd like to change, at least in the year 2025, which is the fact I'm not proud of the products I sell. I'm not proud of these pump and dump designs. Like I said, they look like any other product you see on Etsy. They don't differentiate me as an artist, and I'm just frankly not proud of those products. And while they do sell fast and they're quick and simple, efficient designs from a business model perspective, I'm still just not proud of them. And so I just didn't have the mental capacity anymore to keep putting effort into these designs when I'm not proud of them in the first place. Now, I do have some original art in my shop, even though I don't physically ship anything. I would scan original paintings and offer them as digital products in my shop, but those did not sell nearly as well. When people want a piece of art that leans more towards traditional fine art, I think they would prefer you ship them an actual product. So either number one, the actual painting itself, or number two, a physical print. I think these types of customers were deterred from buying those types of products because, like I said, they're looking for a physical product, probably most likely. And those original art products I offered in my shop were digital. And so I think it deterred them because, number one, since the files are so large, they can't even download them from Etsy, so that's a little confusing. And they have to go to a third-party source, which in my case was a Google Drive link with the files. I think it's just too confusing, and those types of customers don't want a digital product, they want a physical product. So to wrap that up, I'm just not proud of the products in my shop. I want to focus in 2025 on really developing and growing as an artist, and I want products I offer to reflect that. So for me in my head, I'm leaning towards the idea of possibly going to a business model where I only sell physical products, but I'm not sure yet. Don't quote me on that. That's what I'm leaning towards. Number 3 is probably going to be a little bit controversial, but I am really frustrated with AI art. I think on one hand, some people would qualify AI art as an art in and of itself. I, at this point, don't happen to be one of those people, and I'm quite frustrated with trying to be an artist and competing with AI art. And Etsy currently is riddled with AI art, and they sell. People don't know the difference, and Etsy is not doing anything about it. And I just slowly became more and more frustrated with this, trying to compete with AI art. And like I said previously, I had the problem of not being able to distinguish myself in the first place. So what am I really doing? What's the value of my product compared to all this AI art? Because at least in my head, AI art can also be qualified as pump and dump designs. So what value am I contributing to people if my designs probably look kind of similar? Number 4, you won't know this until you really dig into this business model and do it for yourself. I don't happen to think it's worth the time and the effort. I maybe made, because of Etsy raising their listing prices, which we'll go over later, I made a couple dollars on each sale, you guys. It's just not worth it. And for my business model, I was offering free customizations to try to entice customers to buy from me versus all these other pump and dump sellers. And it's just not worth the time or effort for me. The profit margin was not worth it. And that's not a sustainable business model. And I've actually made a video discussing this where I talk about how the term passive income is kind of a lie. You do have to work on your Etsy shop every day. If you're interested, I'll link it in the top right corner. Yeah, it's not worth the time or the effort. And so I need to rethink my strategy. My 5th and final reason for rethinking my business model on Etsy and rethinking my strategy for 2025 is frustrations with Etsy as a whole, the platform as a whole. I hinted at this earlier, but I have frustrations with all the AI on there. I have frustrations with drop shipping products. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it, a bunch of Temu crap on there. Sorry, it's true. And then the higher listing fees. The fees are ever increasing. And like I said, the profit margin is already really slim. It's just a couple bucks. So like, why am I even doing this at this point, you know? So to sum all of that up, I'm basically not proud of my business model, not proud of the products I sell. I'm frustrated with Etsy as a whole and how they allow AI art on there and a bunch of drop shipping stuff, and I need to rethink what I'm gonna do for 2025. So what am I gonna do for 2025? Well, I don't know yet. I know I want to focus on my art and grow as an artist and practice, and while I am scared of it because I don't want to fail and have a bunch of physical products staring at me, calling me a failure, I want to try next year to sell physical product. I don't know if that will be on Etsy or if that will be in person at fairs and markets and whatnot, but I think I want to try that. So I know a lot of my subscribers on here on YouTube came from my Etsy tutorials, and I want to acknowledge that if you feel at this point you don't want to follow me anymore, that's totally okay. No hard feelings at all. But I do want to explain why I still plan to provide value and tutorials around this topic. So number 1, I'm not going to abandon these Etsy tutorials I make that are very successful and provide value to people as a whole. I'm not going to abandon them. In fact, I'm thinking of redoing some of my more popular videos because I've learned so much about making videos since then and editing that I just like to redo it. So I'm thinking about doing like a whole master course on Etsy for how to design a product, like from start to end, how to design a product, how to size it, how to make the files, how to put it on Etsy, everything. And I'm thinking about doing it in 2 different formats. One for like if you want to scan real original art and scan it and sell it as a digital product, or if you want to create designs in Canva or Procreate or something, from start to finish, how to do it. So if you're interested in that, I need you to let me know with a comment and I can totally make that video. I don't want to abandon the idea of making content that is valuable to people. That's part of my goal on my channel, is to inspire creativity and skill building in every corner of life. So that is my plan at this point. I'm not going to abandon Etsy tutorials as a whole. Number 2, if you are a subscriber from one of my past Etsy tutorials, you probably do enjoy art. You probably are an artist yourself. And I'm going to document my journey in 2025 of how I'm going to revamp my business model and what my plans are, and if I do sell physical products, how I'm going to source suppliers for my prints, how I'm going to package prints, how I set up for fairs and whatnot. I plan on documenting all of that. And so if you want to stick around for that journey and see what I do with my business venture in 2025, I encourage you to stick around. So yeah, for my Etsy shop as a whole, I don't have a concrete plan at this point, but once I do, I'll obviously create a video on that. But I do know in 2025, I want to lean more into the artistic side of me and making real fine art and figuring out a way to sell products I'm proud of. So if you want to follow me on that journey, I would appreciate it. So yeah. Those are all my thoughts. If you feel like giving this video a comment, like, or a subscribe wherever you can, if you want to stick around and follow my journey into 2025, I would greatly appreciate it because it's going to let that YouTube algorithm know that I'm not wasting people's time and I'm creating valuable content. So with that being said, that's going to be a wrap, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.